Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a very special night here on 3Y TV. We are live from Dover National Speedway for the OSCA Weekend Woodsman Series Aaron Leinemann Memorial. I am Ty McIntosh, joined as usual by my broadcast colleague Cameron Rich, and Carlos joins us as always on the controls. And if you did miss last week's action, don't fret. We're going to recap a lot of that, all of it actually, here and more for you in just a few moments. But first, we want to take some time. The reason why we're all here tonight, Mr. Aaron Leinemann, we want to talk about him. And just the guy that he was, as he was a huge part of OSCA and a fantastic gentleman.
Absolutely. And of course, he was here quite a bit before I was, but has been memorialized in a few previous races. So obviously a very special part of this league. Very much known for his jokes and pranks and such like that. So we'll try to keep it lighthearted for you guys here tonight. And like you said, Ty, it's more about Aaron than it is anything else. And I'm sure he'll like what he sees tonight here at Dover.
Yeah, absolutely. He was a great guy to race with on the racetrack, and as you said, he was a big prankster. Chatting with Neil and having a chance to talk to Neil, who was one of his good friends. His nickname was Goof, and I think that says a lot about Aaron and just the kind of guy that he was. Obviously, I know you said you hadn't raced with him that much, but I raced with him for a couple seasons, and it was always a blast. He was never a guy that was that upset. He was always having a good time, always laughing, and he was always a great guy to be around.
Absolutely. And, well, as you can see here, we're about a minute into qualifying. AJ Clemens currently has the fastest time on track. I guess we could go ahead and get into our point standings here. Daniel Gore, your last year's champion, is leading the points after a pretty solid outing last week at Las Vegas. Of course, Tate Lytle was leading before, but he did miss last week's event, and that did drop him down to 5th place. But your rest of the top 10 there, Beers, Scarborough, Thomas, Tate Lytle, D. West, James Miller, Hackthorne, Flemons, who we thought he's had a bit of a slow start to the season, but I think we probably will see what he can do here tonight. Definitely Dover is probably one of those tracks that's right up there in his wheelhouse. He's a short track guy. He likes to bank short tracks, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do. Rhett Evans, Bracey, and Capuano round up your top 13 there on the screen. Team points, much the same. South Shore and Redux, much the same as last season. Those two are in the battle for the lead. Team Mixture Rich up there as well. Austin Beers with a couple wins this season. And definitely showing a good amount of speed there. So, but we're still pretty early on here in the season, Ty. I'd say we're just now starting to get into the thick of things. It's our first real... I was going to say real event of the season, but we've had a couple already. A bit of a different race this season, or this event here at Dover. It's kind of a unique track. It's a 1 mile, high banked, very fast, very on edge oval. And we haven't raced here in a few seasons, so it's new to a lot of the drivers here, and it's going to be a real big challenge.
Yeah, no, and talking with Daniel Gore and Noah Brown, last week's winners, neither of them have ran this track before. I think Tuesday's practice was the first time, so completely new to them. You mentioned OSCA hasn't ran this in about 5 seasons or so. I could be wrong, but it's been a while. So it's going to be tricky. Talking with a lot of the guys too in practice on Tuesday, it's weird because they said that it's not loose, but it doesn't plant either. So there's a lot of grip, but I think it's more mechanical grip than it is actual grip on the racetrack. So they're going to be moving around. From what Noah Brown said in practice, he said it works from neutral to loose. I've heard people say that it's neutral to tight. Zach Evans was somebody that told me that it builds tight off of 2. So we're going to see a lot tonight. It's definitely going to shake things up. But I feel like, as you mentioned, Tate Lytle, we're going to see a lot of the story that we've seen all season long, which is that 3-team fight. I'm not saying that the other teams aren't competing, but it's been a big 3 all season long so far between South Shore, Redux, and Team Mixture Rich. So I think we're going to see a lot of that tonight.
Absolutely. And why don't we go ahead and get into a little bit of a recap of last week. Of course, last week we saw Redux Racing sweep Noah Brown with his first win of the season, and Daniel Gore, the two to pick up wins last week. And Gore, also, that was his second win of the season, I believe. So we talked to Daniel before the season start. He wasn't too confident about his speed in the truck and what was going on. of course, our champion from last season in the Xfinity car. He wasn't too confident about, the switch and just how differently it's going to drive. But of course, he is leading the points now, and I think so far that sophomore slump is not taking effect just yet. And of course, Tate Lytle at the top of the board right now in qualifying, 5 minutes to go.
And as we get to the halfway point here, we did not. We're doing something a little different for the broadcast this week. We were literally about to get to you, though, as I believe we are just about ready to roll into points. Let's see who is going to start us off this week.
It's Neil.
It's literally Neil.
Hey,
Okay.
it's the last man. So it's my pick, and I'm going to do it. Give me Blake Barney.
Oh.
I'm going to slap you.
I knew you all wanted
I'm
him.
gonna go with the same pick. Now I gotta go with my backup. And which makes me hate you, but it's fine. I'm gonna go with Caden Tufts.
He's having computer issues.
Is he?
Yep.
Is he not in practice? Or
But you locked it in.
Yeah.
No, he's
I'll
qualifying
go.
right now. He's 6 right
No,
now.
he's having like graphic issues.
Oh.
It's fine.
Well, he's here. He's fine.
It's fine.
Who needs him?
Okay.
He qualifies.
TP, who you got?
Let's go with tonight's race winner, Dylan Thomas.
Dylan Thomas. I like that pick.
What I like to
Hammer,
hear.
who you got?
Good of a night as any. I'm going with Tate.
All right. I'm saying this while he's in here. If you screw this up, Neil, I will never forget you. I'm picking Neil.
I'll be at the wall.
Let's remember the last time that a broadcaster picked him.
It
Okay,
never
but
ends
he
well.
was Cam Rich Jr., so that's fine.
Yeah, I had to finish last. I couldn't, steal all the glory.
I am going to pick number 41, which is Dallas.
He almost won here a time.
Tim isn't here, so he's not gonna get a pick and have one. Carlos, who you
Oh,
got?
did he not have one? Oh my god, guys, can you believe it? I have the points lead for the first time since I won back-to-back championships. And I have a feeling
guy.
I got myself a good pick tonight. He was running well in practice, and boy, do I love seeing that little kitty go around every single week. I'm gonna go pick Ray Bracey.
I was a little worried.
It got me.
I thought you were going somewhere
It was a
else.
jump scare on that one
I
coming.
was a little worried, Carlos. We gotta switch up the verbiage on that. Nonetheless, Pushkin getting picked here with Bojo for half one by Carlos. And as we get ready to wrap up qualifying, just a refresher, in the time that we've been making picks, Daniel Gore has jumped up to second over Blake Barney. So that makes your top three Tate Lytle, Daniel Gore, Blake Barney. Top 10 goes as follows, with Darren Staff P4, Plemons 5th, Noah Brown 6th, 7th Caden Tufts, 8th James Miller, 9th Kynan Jones, and Dylan Thomas P10. As we get a look on board here with Mr. Daniel Gore and the gallon. No, that's not Danny G, that is Sonny D.
That is a lot of beverage right there, and I sure hope he drinks all of it during the race because he's going to feel absolutely terrible afterwards, and we might like to see that here on Free Ride TV. But
So-
um,
Is that considered orange juice? Because I'm not
It's
going to lie, I'm
not.
not
It's
a Sonny
called
D
orange
connoisseur.
drink.
Okay, that
yeah, it's like boneless orange juice.
a gallon of it though, man. Like
It's an interesting choice, yeah.
for the meme, I get it, but like you're not gonna feel good after that.
Not at all. Not at all. Why don't we got a minute left here in qualifying. A little bit of a different procedure this week. These guys are doing solo qualifying. That's why you see just a few cars here on the track. These guys actually had all 10 minutes to make laps by themselves, so you don't see a whole bunch of cars on track. Why don't we talk about this track just a little bit? It's a new one relatively, like you said, Ty. We haven't raced here in about 5 seasons.
I was actually very wrong.
That is, yeah.
I believe it was
called me out.
Xfinity. It was Xfinity.
24A, yeah.
Yeah, or Cup. Maybe that was Cup. I can't
No,
remember.
it was Xfinity, but I was more alluding to the trucks haven't ran here in forever because we haven't ran trucks. But besides,
It's one of those weird tracks that OSCA has been a little bit on and off with it. I remember in the season we ran the Gen 6 cars, it was on that season as well, but I fortunately did not make that race, which shame, because this track is it's a 1 mile of perfect high banked oval. You drive the car on the right rear a lot. The car is always on edge, so these trucks are always they're always going to look like they're about to spin out tonight in the corners, and it's going to be a really cool show.
Yeah, Miles the Monster might claim a couple people tonight, nonetheless, but a lot of these guys are going to learn to tame it pretty well, and it's going to put on some exciting racing. And I'm looking forward to hopefully getting some green flag laps in and seeing how these tires age and everybody gets comfortable and we get a show. But nonetheless, qualifying has concluded. As we roll through your grid here, starting on pole, Tate Lytle and Daniel Gore, two of the guys that have been fighting all season long. How about it? Blake Barney coming back for his first OSCA start in a long time. He's going to be P3. AJ Plemons, P4. P5, Mr. Darren Staff in that 45 Mountain Dew machine. And P6, last week's winner, number 2, Noah Brown. Caden Tufts in the 00 rolls off P7. James Miller, P8, still running that beautiful white and gold car. The Aussie Kynan Jones and the guy that I thought was Kynan Jones, Mr. Dylan Thomas, will roll off on that 5th row.
Row 6 has a couple of South Shore teammates here. Ray Bracey rolls off in 11th. Next to him, David Westergreen in a P12 in that beautiful number 9 truck. Rolling off P13 is Neil Rutt, your pick for tonight in that 66 machine, and Dusty Dewark rolls off in P14. Zach Evans in that Rick Corelli-inspired number 6 machine rolls off in 15th. And the number 99 of Javier Gomera rolls off in 16th. 17th is Jake Scarborough in the 77 Toyota. Matt Hackathorn with a tough break in P18. He's going to have to get through the field. Rolling off in 19th is that RK Motorsports machine of Fidel Fabian, and Dave Carpenter rolls off P20.
P21, we got the 48 machine of Aaron Evans, and P22, Mr. Santiago Aguirre. P23, Patrick Hahey in that number 87 Racing America truck. Thomas Capuano will roll off 24th to his outside. And P25 is going to be Mr. Dakota Pignataro with Adam Peeler starting 26th. And 27th and 28th, the last row of the field, is going to be Dallas Myhand and Jordan Tarbell.
I'm hoping
two guys who are. Oh,
I'm hoping this is a glitch, but during race conditions, I see that Aaron Evans was cleared for a meatball flag.
Huh.
I'm hoping it's a glitch.
I don't see anything about that on my end, but
Truck looks fine. I think
we shall see.
There we go.
Might have just been a visual glitch. But pace car is going to roll through 3 and 4 here. I'm really excited to see how these guys take off. It's going to be chaotic. They're going to get comfortable. They're going to be in a lot of dirty air at first. These tires are going to be cold. We're going to have a heck of a show here, Cam.
And got to watch for wheel spin. This high banking on the restarts really does play some havoc into what these guys can do. So we'll have to see what Tate Lytle can do here. Maybe he can take that line where he cuts the inside a little bit and get that good restart here off floor. But green flag is out. Tate gets a good jump there off of the bottom line. He's going to clear Daniel Gore into turn number 1 by about a car length there. Actually, Blake Barney takes the spot from Daniel Gore as well. Daniel Gore also under fire from Darren Staff. So not the restart. Ooh, somebody in the wall. I think that might have been Noah Brown in the 65, or maybe that truck behind him. Can't exactly see who that was. I think James Miller. But yeah, a clean start for these guys. It's oh god, these restarts are always so hectic here, Ty.
Yeah, no, and I think we saw a little bit of patience there from Daniel Gore trying to take it easy. Nothing like that on those guys on the inside. They were all trying to take the spots from our defending champion, but a little bit further back, the first cars we see side by side, that's actually going to change as AJ Plemons is going to get underneath Noah Brown, but Zach Evans and Dustin Dewar, that's not Dustin Dewar. I'm not doing that again. That is James Miller. That is okay. I don't know. All right, I'm done. David Westergreen on the outside back here as Tate Lytle gets a little loose. That's going to put Blake Barney to the lead. Yeah,
a big move there for Blake Barney, and side by side here off of turn number 2. Tate Lytle's going to go back to the inside, wanting that lead back from Blake Barney. We're looking at the 66 of Neil Rutt here, and the battle for that's back in 17. We do have a battle for the lead up here. Blake Barney and Tate are still going at it side by side. Blake Barney on the outside. Looks like no, he's taking it there off of turn number 2.
Tate looks like he's trying to get comfortable again. It's definitely, when you get loose for the first time and it's this early in the race, you try to tell yourself to back up, slow down, as we're seeing guys get into the wall there. Daniel Gore that time. But it's definitely tricky, especially when you know that you almost wrecked the truck. But a guy like Tate Lytle, he's just going to get right back going. But he's under fire from Darren Staff and everybody behind him.
Yeah, Darren Staff still looking for his first win here in OSCA, and he's very hungry, looking under the inside of that truck. And doing something that you got to do here in these trucks here at Dover is find some downforce to put on that front end, because when you run right behind the back of another truck, you do get a lot of dirty air, and it does make the truck push a lot off. Ooh, back up turn 2. That's Caden Tuff sideways, and I think Bojo's involved there in number 7. Ooh, Dustin Newer, I think that was Hackathorn. Yeah, that's one of those Dover wrecks, Ty. When you get a wreck off turn number 2, the track just gets blocked, and there's not a lot of room to go around.
Yeah, no, it's especially when you lock it up, you're going to make yourself loose, and I think that's what happened there. We saw a lot of guys late in that thing trying to slow down, sliding in. Gilberto Javier Gomera involved, Thomas Capuano involved, David Westergreen tried to make it through. It got a little bit of damage on that left front. But, yeah, no, that's got a little loose in front of the 09 there. Maybe a little bit of contact. You see everybody trying to slow up and get through it.
I don't think big damage for the 41, maybe not the 6. Gilberto might be fine. I think the 00 and the 67, that's Clemens, I think they got into each other through 1 and 2, and that got AJ sideways, which then checked him up and got Caden sideways, which is a quite interesting way for that wreck to unfold. But let's see if we can get a onboard view with one of those two parties involved. We're on board with one of the trucks further back here that saw a really good view of the wreck. It's actually unfolding completely around him. Not sure who this is.
I believe this is Zach Evans.
Excuse me. Zach Evans. No, you're right. Zach Evans.
Yeah. It's a great view from on board that machine. So good job getting through that wreck, and not much you can see off of turn number 2. This track is so narrow, and it just closes up so much that it's like a funnel almost.
Yeah, and especially, so something that I find really tricky too is the backstretch isn't exactly flat. It's really bumpy. So like even if you get loose off a 2 and you think you have it saved, if you throttle up at the wrong time, you're just going to make that truck even more unhappy. And there's going to be nowhere for anybody to go, just like we saw there. But nonetheless, as these guys get down pit road, fix damage, we see Gilberto on pit road, Ray Bracey, Matt Hackathorn, Thomas Capuano. They're all going to get some damage fixed. Blake Barney is still your leader here, 8 laps in. Tate Lytle 2nd, Daniel Gordon 3rd, Darren Staff 4th, Noah Brown 5th. Some notable guys that have moved a little bit. Fidel Fabian's up a couple spots. Aaron Evans, I think, up a couple. Still a pretty early start here, and I think we're still going to see a lot of action. But that right there, that was classic Dover. Somebody gets loose, there's nowhere for anybody else to go, and we're under yellow for the first time here. Is Austin? No, that's actually Jake Scarborough. That's having some interesting tire warming strategies there with that inside wall, a little close.
Yeah, you said Austin there, and actually something to bring up tonight that we didn't actually mention yet is Austin Beers not here. He is, I believe he is in South Boston right now. He's helping a buddy with his race car. So good luck to you tonight, Austin. Whatever you're doing, go do it to the best of your abilities and do. Hopefully you're watching us. Be happy to have you back next week. We're getting ready for another restart here. Actually, the first restart, that was our first caution. So that was pretty clean, I'd say. The wreck off turn 2 was a bit of a damper, but these guys got going pretty well, and the restart, or the start itself, was pretty clean. And it's interesting to see this 14 of Blake Barney coming into the series. I know he used to race back a couple seasons ago, hasn't been here for a while. He's making a big splash here tonight.
Yeah, no, what better way to do it than to run with the guys who have been really fast all season long. Tate Lytle, Daniel Gore, and he's doing a great job here as he qualifies 2nd. He's the leader now as we're going to roll into the restart zone. We are going to get going here. Blake Barney's going to get us going. Great jump by him. Daniel Gore a lot better that time. Tate Lytle going to have to file in behind Blake as they're going to be dogfighting there inside the top 5. Tate's actually going to get clear of both of them. So now it's just going to be the fight for 3rd as we might be wrecking again.
73, Kynan Judge, he got really sideways in turn 2, went up the racetrack, almost into the wall. He's going to lose 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 spots. So, yeah, sorry. I saw that truck just shoot up the track, and I thought he was going to hit the wall, but did a good job keeping off the track, or keeping off the wall there.
You are all good. Back up at the front, Tate Lytle with a huge move to the inside of Blake Barney. He's going to clear him out of turn 2. We might see, I think we're going to see the swapping of the lead between these two quite a bit. They're both just making good moves, not really wanting to defend it. Blake Barney now choosing the high side, trying to build up a little run on Tate, but I don't think there's too much grip up there so far.
Not at the moment, but I do think that will come in just a little bit. I know you can run just a little bit higher in these trucks to keep that momentum up. Battle there for a little bit further back. That's for the 6th position, Noah Brown and James Miller. We've seen those two get into each other a few times before last season, but choosing to keep it clean right now. Ooh, Daniel Gore, it looks like he got a little bit sideways in a 3. Not sure if there was some help from behind that 45 of Darren's staff, or if he just got a little bit loose on the transition there, but all good. And now the battle for side-by-side battle on the track is for 4th. AJ Clemens and Darren Staff going at it. Clemens actually he fell back a little bit to start the race, but he's making a big charge up front now.
You know, if he wasn't comfortable before, he definitely is now, as he's going to be to the inside of Darren Staff for that 4 spot as we head into 1 and 2. Just want to make one quick point. Bojo, if you are listening, we see you in interview waiting. We will try to get you here if we go green for a little bit. If you'll just hang tight, we'll get to you. As AJ Clemens is going to have to tuck back behind Darren Staff. That top side started to work there. Noah Brown, though, trying to make a move on AJ Clemens for the 5th spot.
And also, Daniel Gore also looking racy for that 2nd spot on Blake Barney. He's all over the back bumper of that 14 machine. Going to choose a different line into turn number 1, trying to see if he can get that inside line, keep some grip on those right side tires, and get that corner made a little bit tighter. Not going to be able to do it there off of turn number 2. So actually really good to see these guys can run a little bit different lines here at Dover. Not something you always see, but when you do see it, it is quite the treat.
A little bit further in the back here, something to point out, our biggest mover so far, Neil Rutt, he's up 5 spots. Jake Scarborough, he's up 7. All the way back from the 22nd spot is Santiago, he's up to 14th. Fidel Fabian up 6 from 19th to 13th. So a lot of these guys are moving around, making up some time pretty early on here. Something else to touch on about Neil very quickly. His paint scheme for tonight is a split of Aaron Leinemann paint scheme. So love to see that from Neil. Again, we mentioned it earlier, he's one of Aaron's good buddies. And it's always beautiful to see that as we have a battle for the lead. Blake Barney side by side with Tate. Daniel Gore's back up to the 3rd spot, and he's going to challenge us. We're going to have a 3-way fight.
Yeah, these two are not going away from each other, and they brought Daniel Gore and actually Darren Staff and AJ Clemens and Noah Brown in there. So this is a 6-car battle for the lead right now, and that's pretty wild to see here at Dover. They're lapping the number 73 of Kynan Jones. He's the one that got a little bit sideways there in turn 2 earlier. So having some issues with that truck, but he's going to stay well out of the way. It's a 6-truck battle for the lead, and I'm not sure who has the advantage right now. All these trucks look about the same pace.
It feels like it's a lot of a come and go situation, really. All these guys that maybe they push a little bit, get their tires too hot, then they got to back up, come back. We're not really seeing a whole lot of that at the front between Blake, I just remember the names, Tate Lytle and Blake Barney, as they're starting to gather everybody back up. It was a 6-car fight. We're starting to get to a point where we're maybe getting to the top 7, top 8. Now they're spreading back out, though. I think we're starting to get into a rhythm. Maybe Tate and Blake are seeing that, trying to spread out, maybe not fight too much right now. We still got 53 laps to go here around the Monster Mine.
And now the best battle is for the 5th spot, Darren Staff and Noah Brown. Noah Brown actually was sideways off 2. Now he's going to look inside into turn number 3 there. And like he's going to hook that inside of the racetrack a little bit better, but a little tight off of turn number 2. And a little apology from Darren there on Noah's behalf, but I think we might have had a little bit of an outage here on the iRacing side. Looks like we're getting everything back, so we're still seeing everything happening here. At the front, Tate Lytle's still leading here. His lead over second has expanded to about 3/4 of a second now. Blake Barney, he's hit the loud pedal in that 56. And
oh, they're wrecking.
Nope.
Right behind Neil Rutt, Jake Scarborough, Dylan Thomas. No yellow yet. There it is.
There's the yellow.
Yep.
So, really awkward there. So, the checkup started a little earlier in 3 and 4, and then it kind of just played out over time. I mean, that's very common accordion style wreck there, but started just in front of the Neil Rutt machine. And then a little bit of a checkup there. Jake got in the back of Dylan. Dylan able to maybe not get too much damage on that number 13 machine. And then obviously the caution came out when he had to spin that truck around and stop on the racetrack. So I believe that will be a pretty cut and dry call there for Vic. As while we are under this yellow, let's go ahead. Oh, he just moved from interview waiting, but we're going to bring him back anyways. We're going to go ahead and get in Mr. Ray Bracey, who's out of this race, while we have a second here. Get an interview waiting. We'll do the pit call. If I can figure out how to do this.
Yeah, well, there we go.
Bojo, it's time for the booth, buddy. You got a copy? I saw you were sitting there.
Yeah, I'm here. That was the first caution. Yeah.
Yeah, we were just trying to get to you, and right as I started to, you left interview waiting. But obviously, not the way you wanted your night to end for half one. It looked like there was just really nowhere for you to go there, and you were obviously involved in that. So maybe what did you see out there, and how do you feel like you can do anything differently in half two?
I mean, I think I drove pretty fine. I felt a little squirrely at the first 2 laps with the cold tires, but yeah, I was getting comfortable. I was in a groove, and then, I mean, there's just nothing I can do, and the 2 cars are blocking up the lane, spinning, and it's just I hold the brakes, and then I think what really gave me damage was whoever hit me afterwards, like hit my front right tire, because tire was super wobbly after that point. But I mean, it's racing. It's whatever. It's people crash, and people who aren't involved get involved, and it's just how it goes. Trying to keep more optimistic approach on this, but still another race. That's all I can look forward to right now.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it was one of those cut and dry Dover wrecks where somebody wrecks and it's so tight back there that there's not really a whole lot you can do. And oh no, well, that's not good. You're probably not looking at the live screen. We got a wrecked Ferrari on the screen. But well, we're gonna let you get back and maybe try to be a little bit of an asset to your teammates there. But we look forward to seeing Pushkin back out there for half two.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I'll see y'all next race, hopefully.
Yes, sir. That was Bojo. He's gonna do that himself. Okay. Yep. So he's gonna go back. I was trying to drag him. He did it himself. A little bit of pit road shenanigans. Matt Hackathorn stays out. He assumes the lead. Everybody else came down for, I presume, 4 tires. As we figured, I believe Jake Scarborough was going to get that EOL there. He did. Kynan Jones and Aaron Evans get the waiver rounds. They are back on. Actually, Aaron is 10 laps down, so he's trying to fight back from that damage. And Kynan Jones gets his lap back. He was only 1 lap down. So this is going to be interesting. Matt Hackathorn, 25-lap-old tires. Everybody else on 4 freshies, I would assume. We're about to find out a lot here, Cam.
I think that truck is going to get eaten alive on the restart. Real quick update, 67 to AJ Plemons. He got an EOL for what I believe is speeding, so he's going to be starting back in P20 for this restart. Look for some fireworks from that truck as he makes his way through the field. Green flag is out. Good restart for that 0-4 despite the circumstances. Like you said, 25-lap-old tires on that machine. It's going to be a handful on as that truck goes through a heat cycle, and I think the battle for bleed here, once Tate gets his truck to the right rear of that machine, is going to be pretty short. And I think, yep, there you go. He's going to make that move into turn number 3. Blake Barney going to follow him around the outside. I think pretty shortly thereafter, the 69 of Gore and 65 of Brown as well going to be following through. So what Matt wants to do here is just damage limitation. He was about P18 before he... Oh, caution out. Let's see what happened here. I have to think that it is somewhere in the back. We'll see what happens. Ooh. That's the 77 of Jake Scarborough. He got punted around, but I believe that's the 18 of Dakota Pignataro. So, interesting off of there. I think Pignataro actually got into the wall there off of turn number 4. A little bit out of the groove there. And just bounces back into the 77. Nothing he could do there. He was trying to avoid the 18 and got pitched around there into turn number 1. But I don't think that wreck right there is going to be too much damage on the 77. He should be good to go.
Yeah, maybe some unhappy tires on that number 77 machine. But other than that, he's pretty clean. Going to have to obviously reset mentally and get by everybody else as he's going to have to work his way back through the field. But he started 17th and he was up there fighting for the top 10 earlier on. So he has the speed to do it. Matt Hackathorn update, he filled a 4th right there, only going a lap. So he's looking to be a little bit, hopefully, a little bit luckier here and maybe try to damage limitation. Like you said, I also feel like maybe saving a set of tires here. I'm not totally sure. We do only have 2 sets of tires, and I think from what Vic said earlier, you can almost make it on fuel with a 1-stop, or you can probably. So I don't think it's going to play that much of a factor, but it could. If we keep having yellows like this, Matt Hackathorn could be in a great spot.
Yeah, what he's really trying to do, he was about P18, P17 before the pit stops there. He was actually involved in that first caution, had some damage on the truck, so wasn't too far up the field. The thought process there is, hey, if you lose spots, it's fine, as long as you can maybe, if you fall back to 15th, that's still a net gain of 2-3 spots. So that's really what the plan here is when you make a call like that. 25 laps, though, is a lot of laps at Dover. This track does tend to eat the tires. Those right front, especially those right side tires, especially the right front, just really take a beating here with how high banked this track is and how fast you're going around it. So he's gonna have a handful until they pit again. So, but if he can get about 10-15 laps here and not lose too many spots, he will be in a great position.
Yeah, and I think ultimately, it's going to work out for him. I think with the way that he's been running, I don't think he's terribly slow. I think it's just going to be a matter of taking it easy, remembering, hey, like these tires are old. This track sucks front wear, so I can't imagine how the right front's feeling, let alone the right rear. But nonetheless, he's going to restart in that 4th position in front of Darren Staff and Fidel Fabian, so 2 RK teammates behind him. And then on the bottom, we're going to have Daniel Gore to his inside, Noah Brown, Dustin Dewar, P7 right now, having a pretty good run so far.
Fidel Fabian also P8, a good run for him, the rookie. This is not an easy track for rookies, I can tell you that. It is one of the toughest tracks to run here, and he's doing a very good job up there in the top 10.
Santiago's still looking really good. Obviously, we mentioned him. He started back in the field in that 22nd position. He is P11 right now. As we are going to be ready to go back green here. Pace car is on pit road. We roll to the restart zone.
Green flag.
And we are green. Tate Lytle going to get a pretty good jump there on the inside of Blake Barney. They are still going to be kind of close there, but the story is going to be Daniel Gore trying to get around the 04 Matt Hackathorn. Noah Brown going to try to follow through, as well as Darren Staff. They're all going to tuck to the bottom. Out front, though, Tate Lytle still leads this thing.
Yep, but not for long. Blake Barney looks like he's going to get racy into turn number 3. Not able to make the move just yet, but these two have been swapping back and forth all race. So I would probably expect to see that to continue up until we see the checkered flag there. A little bit loose there off of turn number 4. I believe that was Dustin Dewar in the 32 truck, but he gathers it up pretty nicely. And you see that 04 of Matt Hackathorn. He's still losing spots, but it looks like those tires are starting to equal out just a little bit. If we can get about 5 more laps under green here, they should be about as good as they're going to be, and he just needs to hang on from here. But not a great feeling to be in that truck and knowing there's not much you can do there. You just have to hang on and hope that you can hang on, really.
Right on board with Fidel Fabian here. Especially Neil Rutt. There we go. Now we're on board with Fidel Fabian. Up 10 spots from his starting spot. Mentioned him earlier. This is a very tough track for rookies, and even if you're not a rookie and this is your first time running the track, like we're seeing for Daniel Gore and Noah Brown, it is tough. And we're right on board with him here. As you see, he's fighting Neil Rutt very hard for the 8th position there. He's running really tight. Get a look at that Aaron Leinemann memorial scheme there. Neil's going to clear Fidel. And just in front of these two is Matt Hackathorn, who's doing a fantastic job so far. As Cam mentioned earlier, those tires are starting to even out. And right as I say that, he's going to get a little tight on that top side, allow Neil Rutt to get by. Fidel Fabian going to take a look to the inside. Not much going to happen there. As we go just in front of these guys, the battle for P2 right now, Daniel Gore and battle for P3, sorry. Daniel Gore and Noah Brown, the two teammates make a little contact, it looked like. Maybe Noah just got a little loose, but that's going to open the door for Darren Staff. Tate Lytle, though, a half a second lead out front over Blake Barney, Daniel Gore, and the guys side by side for P5 right now, or P4, Darren Staff and Noah Brown is right on board with Darren. He is struggling a little bit, but he's actually going to look at him there. Like Danny G has Sunny D, he has seemingly a case of Mountain Dew, maybe two.
A couple, yeah.
Yeah, I think that definitely is the case. So, I mean, good sponsor placement. He's run the Mountain Dew truck, so actually a pretty cool wheel there. It looks like the top of the wheel lights up, so I think that's like a shift light or something.
I think it's the same type that Danny G has, as well as my hand.
Oh, wow. Too rich for me. I don't have anything like that. That's pretty cool, though. We have a battle for what looks to be we'll go back to the field here a little bit. That was the battle for 15th. AJ Plemons and Dylan Thomas. AJ Plemons is going to get that pretty easily and now set his sights for those 3 trucks in front of him. James Miller, excuse me. No, that is James Miller. James Miller, Matt Hackathorn, who is actually now falling back to that battle. He's don't want to say it like this, but that he's got to feel like he's probably in the way out there now. Those tires have absolutely given up, and he's struggling. He's struggling hard. Can't keep the truck on the bottom of the racetrack, and probably at this point, Ty, maybe if he loses a couple more spots, it's probably going to be a net negative for him.
Yeah, no, and it feels like we commentators cursed him. He's going to go 3 wide with Jake Scarborough and Thomas Capuano there. Going to get through that just fine, but I feel like we definitely commentators cursed him. He was running just fine, and then we mentioned him. You mentioned him once, I mentioned him twice, and he fell down the running order very quickly. But as you mentioned, he's going to get to a point where he's going to feel like he just needs to pit, but he can't. I mean, at this point, you've made your bed, you got to lay in it.
Yeah, and it's such a tough position to be in because you can't really do much as a driver. Like you said, you've made your bed. If you pit, you're going to go laps down. You're probably going to go 2 laps down here, and that's going to be more of a detriment to your race than losing spots. And where he's at, he's 6.4 seconds behind the leader. If you're 2 laps behind the leader, you're 40 seconds behind the leader. Yeah, you just got to stay out there and hope for the best here, and hope that really hope that you get a caution or something. Battle here for P16. That's Jake Scarborough and Adam Taylor. Jake Scarborough was, I believe, in a couple of the earlier cautions we've had tonight, so not a clean night for that 77 machine. On pit road there. Yeah, so either he ran out of fuel, or I'd have to think that he probably did run out of fuel, because I believe the fuel run is about 40 laps here. So it's a tough break for him. The strategy didn't work out, but when you were running around P18, P19, around that area anyway, I like the call. Roll the dice, see what happens, and if it doesn't work out, you always got to have number 2.
And it's maybe still not over, right? Obviously, I don't think these guys can really make it to the end from that 25 lap pit stop. So if this goes back around and he's able to stay, or we're able to stay green here, he could actually end up benefiting a little bit. But that time will tell.
Yeah, that is a good call, because actually, if they do go green, he's bar none. So he is technically, if you think about aggregate timing, he is gaining time on the leader. He is the laps behind. But when the rest of the field pits, he will gain that time back, and he could jump the people that were in front of him. Now, the only negative to that is on the other end of that run. When we get close to the end of the race, he will have worse tires than everybody else. So really, he needs the race to go green from here to the end for him to get that strategy going.
As we look on top of your 3-wide TV multicam here, Santiago and Noah Brown, the 2 Redux teammates, they are fighting for just inside the top 10. Noah Brown's starting to struggle just a little bit here. He's falling back pretty far. Drivers are moving up the order, though. Fidel Fabian, he is up to the 6th position. And Dustin Dewar, he is up to P5. Neil Rutt up to 7th, and Russ Green up to 8th. As we see some of these guys that pitted starting to make their way through. Dallas Mahan with a huge run to Noah Brown. Noah all out of shorts. AJ Plemons going to get by. James Miller going to get by. Noah is struggling hard right now. Yeah,
that truck is not doing what he needs to do. Looks like he can't keep it on the bottom of the racetrack, so he might have burnt that right. I know you've raced here. That is such an easy thing to do. If you drive that car hard, too hard for like 3 laps in a row, your right front just smokes off the race car, and it doesn't come back. So he really just needs to back it off now and pull those tires off.
A little bit of contact with his other teammate, Jake Scarborough, almost turned him around. Able to hang on to it there. That was almost a certified Noah Brown moment. But
we heard him on the radio.
There's Matt Hackathorn shooting into frame. That's those fresh tires for you, folks. He is absolutely going to blow the doors off the 41 and 77 machine, and he's looking to get another lap back, and that's going to benefit him. He's with Daniel Gore on pit road, so that starts that train. Hackathorn actually could be in great shape here.
Yeah, this is actually going to. We'll have to see how this plays out, but the pit sequence has started now, and I have to think that now that Gore is on pit road, Tate, Blake, and everybody else behind them are not going to be too far behind, because you can see the tire difference there, Ty. Matt is so much faster than everybody else right now. Those tires are so useful. These guys can't wait that much longer.
all I like here from the 51 truck. He's now on pit road. Somebody else, I think, joined him. I could be wrong. Nope, nobody else joined him. So far, Daniel Gore, Fidel Fabian, they are your first two to pit. As we keep looking through this here, we wait for Tate Lytle to come down. He does not. Blake Barney does not. No other takers that time by. Neil Rutt, actually. He will come down pit road.
Yeah, and something we have to bring up here, Ty, this is one of the hardest pit roads to get on in really all of racing, because the pit entry, it comes up really suddenly off of turn number 4. You have to make a really hard left, and in the real life, we see a lot of drivers have trouble with it. Speeding, hitting the pit barrels, it's just a thing. It's very tough to get on this pit road.
Just an update of the story we've been following. Daniel Gore, with that pit cycle, he is exiting turn 2 about halfway down the backstretch, almost to 3. Matt Hackathorn just now exiting turn 2. So while that was a little bit of an advantage for Matt, we're going to start to see Daniel on those fresher tires by about 6 or 7 laps. He's still going to have a little bit of an advantage, but Hackathorn right now, if it stays green, should at least get a top 10 finish, I believe.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And we've got 18 laps here to go. Tate Lytle on pit road, so we'll have to see how Daniel is able to gain some time on him. I believe the gap between Tate and Daniel was about 1.5 to 2 seconds before pit stops, and Daniel's been out there on the fresh tires for 2 laps now, I believe. So there is a chance that Daniel will jump Tate on this pit cycle. See how good his entry and exit is, but it definitely is a possibility, and then we'll have a real good race to the end there. Tate Lytle off pit road. Looks like the stop was good, the exit was good, as long as he was. Ooh, Blake Barney has fun on the entry to pit road. Wow. Big moment there. That was your 2nd place overall truck, and that's not going to do him any good. I think he's got some damage. He's definitely going to have lost some time, and 16 laps to go. Up here at the front, Dustin Dewar, he has not pitted yet, and he is your leader. James Miller also decided not to come down pit road. Currently running 2nd, and it'll be interesting to see what these guys do, because they're going to run out of fuel here in a couple laps, I'd have to presume. Are they waiting for a caution?
I would think that's probably the play here. I don't think you can save enough fuel here to do that. So we see Neil Rutt going by Dustin Dewar as we speak. At the top of your screen, Thomas Capuano, Dave Carpenter fighting for the 4th spot right now. A couple more guys who haven't pitted. So I think maybe, if they've saved this whole time, but 12 laps is still a lot. I think maybe they can go 3 or 4 more at the most. As Dusty, I believe, is going to stay out another lap here. He will. To note, Tate Lytle now into the top 10. Gilberto on pit road. So we've only got 8 guys left who haven't pitted, and we've got 10 to go. So this is going to be a little wild. Thomas Capuano showing some displeasure over the radio, maybe a little contact with Dave Carpenter. That was actually Patrick Hakey he was a little unhappy with.
Yeah, Matt dashed in here at Dover, 10 laps to go, 10 miles to go. And I think that the gap between Tate and Daniel, that's your 10th and 11th place cars, the first 2 that have pitted, is about the distance between 3 and 4. So we'll call that about 2 seconds is the gap right now. So Daniel did gain a little bit of time with that early strategy call to pit a little 3 or 4 laps earlier than Tate, but now that we're on the backside of that run, Tate is going to have the fresh tires at the end and should have the advantage. Adam Peeler there on pit road. There's Vic Natero. Dustin Dewar has decided to call it off and come to the pit. There's AJ Plemons. So I believe, there's Cahey. So I think these guys have about a lap or 2 left to go before they absolutely are going to be forced to come down.
James Miller elects to stay out one more time in that 09 machine. He is still your race leader. We see Tate Lytle now unlapping himself. Daniel Gore not going to be too far behind. As Patrick Cahey, Dakota Pignataro, they're both coming off of the pit lane. That's actually Gilberto Javier Gomera. And then I believe James Miller, he's got... Who did?
Gilberto had a black flag.
Oh, no. So that's going to put him 3 laps down now, so ultimately out of contention for a lot of stuff. James Miller stays out one more time. He's only got about a 21-second lead at this point.
Oh, whoa,
fading quickly. Oh, David Westergreen! Ooh.
What a save.
Great.
Fidel Fabian apologizing over the radio. David Westergreen extremely unhappy. James Miller down pit road.
So there's that. Yep, the strategy. He played out to the very end, but not going to play out. Tate Lytle, he's going to take the lead here in about just a few seconds. So you can see the gap there. That's going to be back to Daniel Gore. About 3-4 seconds right now. Tate has quite literally taken control of this race. And well, it's probably going to be a caution that everybody needs right now to be able to catch that 56. So we know that one of Aaron Leinemann's favorite things to do when he was around was to he had a propensity to whip people with the shop towels, do little crack things. And I think that Tate he's doing that to the field here tonight. So 4 laps to go here. 4 more miles. Got to keep it straight. We have seen a lot of aggressive races in the field. A lot of these guys are getting sideways, so we're not quite in the clear yet, but looking pretty good for him.
If a caution comes out at this point, the race is over.
Yeah,
that is correct.
I don't think we brought that up tonight, but usually OSCA does do green-white checkered. We are not doing that tonight because we will hit the scheduled race distance of 72 laps both halves tonight.
Yeah, Aaron ran the number 72, and what a better way to honor him than to make sure that we hit those 72 laps. If we go over, that would be not a great thing for us, as we want to honor Aaron. But nonetheless, Tate Lytle, 2 to go this time by for him. White flag next time, as he's going to take that number 56 Trader's Machine down the back straightaway. About a 6-second lead over Daniel Gore, who then has 5 seconds to Dylan Thomas. They've spread out fairly well here, but nonetheless, a great run for Fidel Fabian. P4 right now. Obviously, he's going to have to fight off Santi for that, but Tate Lytle gets the white flag, looking for, I believe, win number 3 for him, maybe 4, actually. I know that we had a Tate sweep at some point. I believe it's 3. It should be 3. But nonetheless, through turns 3 and 4, Tate Lytle, the number 56 Traders Brewing 56 machine, is going to go to victory lane. It's another one for South Shore. Daniel Gore is going to round out in P2. Dylan Thomas in a few seconds will be P3s. We see James Miller. Everybody that's a lap down gets across the line. Dylan Thomas P3, Santiago P4, Fidel P5, Neil Rupp P6, Zach Evans 7th. David Westergreen with that save, able to get 8th. Darren Staff 9th, and Dusty Dewar round out the top 10 as Matt Hackerthorne rebounded. Not a top 10, but all things considered, P11. Absolutely fantastic way to rebound that call for him.
Yep, that worked out well for him, and great race there. The gap to second ended up being about 7 seconds from Tate to Daniel Gore in the end, so pretty big whipping on the field. I'd say that was a clinic from the 56 of Tate Lytle, and not anything that's all too surprising. I just checked it up, Ty. 4th win of the season, and we've only had, I believe that is our 9th race. So definitely, yeah, showing everybody who the band to beat here in the season is going to be tonight is that 56.
Yeah, just another great race for him. And something else that we've seen is Daniel Gore being one of the guys that challenges him, right? So that's the story of the season, I believe, is going to be, as you mentioned in the pre-race, South Shore Redux. These guys are not going to get too far away from each other. Team Mixture Rich has been there, and I think we're going to continue to see that all season. But we see the rest of your top 18 there. Again, Tate Lytle will win half 1. Daniel Gore, P2. So interesting race there. We saw some strategy play out. Only 11 trucks finishing on that lead lap, as I believe we are going to roll right into our picks for half 2.
Yeah. So my pick, yeah, it was a pick. That sucked. It's okay. Me and Carlos had awful luck.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the 13 of Dylan Thomas for half 2. Carlos, you're up next, obviously.
Give me a Blake Barney after midnight.
Okay. Neil, who you got?
Give me Dusty Dewar.
Dusty Dewar, the Dragon.
And I think I'm gonna pick number 45.
Darren Staff. Hi, who you got?
I'm gonna shake it up a little bit. I'm gonna pick Thomas Capuano.
That's a choice. TP, who you got?
Who did you pick, Vic, at the beginning? I missed your.
I picked Dylan Thomas.
Oh, okay. I'll take Mr. I'm sorry, second half winner, Dave Carpenter.
Cam, who you got? Who's gonna actually win?
Well, I think I had a good pick for half number one. You know, I saw something pretty good from Dylan Thomas. I don't believe I picked him yet, so let's go with him.
Well, that's funny.
Bad
'cause I
news.
picked him.
Oh, okay.
If only someone just asked that question too.
Yeah.
Double whammy. Yeah.
That's okay. Well, I will go with the guy starting on the pole, Mr.
Oh no.
I think I picked him.
Bad
I think I
news.
picked.
Bad
Adam
news
literally
twice.
just picked him.
It's not going well for me tonight. Nobody's picked Tom, right?
I
Nope.
picked
He
Tom.
just picked Tom.
Oh no.
Okay,
I
can
get
I
this
just can I
score?
just pick nobody? No, let's go with Jake. Nobody's picked Jake.
There you go. You got it.
5 tries.
No. At least you got there eventually. Some people never get their success, Cam, and you got one. So
There you
good
go.
job. We have about 6.5 minutes left in the warm up. A little bit longer warm up for these guys tonight. I think also just to give them a little bit of a break. You know, we talked about Aaron and the towel trick that he used to do, and I feel like that's always a classic prank, right? Even if it's not like a shop towel, like a towel that, like a kitchen towel, all kinds of stuff you can really do it with. And I find myself trying to do that. I was never good at it. I was always terrible at it. And I believe Cam is going to go talk to Dave to see about bringing him up to chat a little bit. Carlos, do you have any pranks that you like used to do on people, or you have like running gags that you do?
Like in school?
Well, not necessarily like anywhere really. Like, do you have a go-to that you get people with, or?
I'm trying to remember. I mean, I could do like a bunch of small stuff here and there. Nothing really like I go to. I like to mix it up a lot.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm always like
I'm gonna have to come back on that one because on the top of my head, you know when you get like pranked, like not pranked, but when you get like on the spot like that, you kind of forget.
Yeah, I completely get that. I think a lot of my jokes are like, you know, if somebody slips up and says something, you know, I kind of get him to double check it. Like, I haven't been able to do that to Cam yet because a lot of my thoughts aren't PG. But thankfully, Bojo does great work on the other thing that I cannot mention. So we at least have that.
Absolutely. We have 5 minutes to go here before we get half two going underway. I went down pit road to go grab Dave, somebody who also was a good friend of Aaron. Just wanted to bring him up here so he could talk about Aaron a little bit and just about the race tonight and get his thoughts. So let's get Dave in here. All right, Dave, part number 2 here. This is Cameron again. You got a copy?
Yes, I got you.
All right, awesome, man. Well, we just wanted to bring you up here and get your thoughts on tonight's race, the Aaron Leinemann Memorial. We know you were a friend of his, so just talk about him, talk about tonight's event. What does it mean to you, and just you know, talk us through everything going on.
Well, I mean, he was more than a friend. He was my nephew, but he was like a little brother to me. And tomorrow actually is the anniversary of his passing. 3 years ago now. 2 years ago. But yeah, we were our own worst enemies for each other. We got each other into various hobbies, like iRacing. I got him into this, you know, a year or so before he joined into OSCA, and yeah, he's just, like I said, he's a little brother to me. Miss him terribly. Not a day goes by that I don't think about him, but I really appreciate Vic continuing this, doing this every year for him. It really means a lot.
Yep, we're on the 3rd annual one, so it's definitely something that's
Yeah, I think
around
the
for a
first
little
one
bit.
was like really shortly after he passed. So,
Yep.
yep. But
So,
as far as the race tonight, like I love Dover. I'm fighting off. I had a little cold earlier in the week, so I'm like struggling getting through these long runs. I wish they would stay green. I'm a better long run person at Dover, but I absolutely love Dover.
Yeah, I'd have to think that Aaron's probably enjoying what he's seeing here tonight. Dover is such an awesome racetrack. Really awesome to see these trucks go around, just on edge, just lighting up that right rear off the corner.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite racetracks.
Yeah, him and I went down there a few times to watch Cup races down there years ago, and we always had a good time. Dover's one of those tracks though, when you're there in person, when they get strung out and it just goes green, you could literally fall asleep in the grandstands.
Yeah, but I've actually been there once in person myself, and I don't know if this is probably a more back in the time, but I went to the race where Biffle won the event and then whacked to the rear end of his car doing a burnout, so it was pretty funny. But really hot that day. It was about 95 degrees. I got one of the worst sunburns I've ever had in my life, and I think concrete actually just reflects all the heat and all the sun, and it's definitely a different experience. So glad we're able to have this event here at a track that OSCA hasn't been to too many times. Glad to see it back. It's such a cool track. So underrated.
I agree 100%.
So, yeah, we'll definitely keep Aaron in our minds for tonight. It is the reason we are here. Thank you for talking to us, Dave, very
Absolutely,
much.
I appreciate
go out
it.
there. You're starting on pole for half number 2.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. You got a little strategy? Maybe something you want to tell us?
I'm just gonna run my race. I struggle keeping these young kids behind me, but I'm just gonna run my race and see what happens, and set my own pace, not overdrive it. That's all I can really do, and then hopefully it falls in my favor.
Absolutely, couldn't be starting in a better spot. Go out there and get him, Dave. We'll be rooting for you, and good luck. 72 more laps here tonight. It's gonna be a fun one.
Sounds good. Thank you, sir. I'll hopefully talk to you later.
Absolutely.
That was Dave. Always great to hear from people who knew Aaron well. Obviously, being Dave's nephew, and as Dave was saying, like a brother, and getting him into iRacing. That's something that we're all here at OSCA very thankful for Dave getting Aaron into that we were able to have some time with Aaron and get to know him. And you mentioned it earlier. I'm sure he's having a great time watching this right now, and this is something that he'd probably love to be a part of. Aaron was always just a good guy to race against and loved to challenge. So about 20 seconds left in the warm-up here. Dave was mentioning the young kids that were starting behind him, that he was trying to keep behind him. He's got some old heads. One who was outside and one behind him, talking about Thomas Capuano and Dallas Mahan. And then, one of our younger guys, Jake Scarborough, rolling off in that 4th spot. Your pick, actually, who I think has a great shot here in half number 2.
Yeah, he had some bad luck there in half number 1, was in that first lap accident, so not the best way to start a race, but, as we do in OSCA every single race, you have another half to go at it, and 16-car invert for tonight, so your winner from half number 1, Tate Lytle, he's going to be starting all the way back in 16th, so we have seen that you can get to the field pretty quickly. Passes are a thing that can happen here. It's just a matter of how aggressive you want to be and how much you want to push that issue here. Rolling off P number 1, we just talked to him. Dave Carpenter, he's going to be starting first, and Thomas Capuano, I got that all wrong, starts P2. Dallas Mahan starts in P3, and Jake Scarborough, my pick, starts in P4. James Miller rolls off in P5. Matt Hackathorn, these two Team R teammates, he's going to roll off in P6. Dustin Dewar, he was up front near the end of the race. That pick strategy did not play out to his advantage. We'll see if he can get it going in half number 2. And Darren Staff in P8. David Westergreen, very upset at the end of half number 1. We'll see if he can revenge in half 2. And Zach Evans rolls off in 10th.
Rolling off 11th, Mr. Neil Rutt III, and that number 66 machine, Fidel Fabian. P12. He had a great run in half 1. Santiago will roll off P13, and the number 88 machine, and Dylan Thomas will roll off 14th. P15 is going to be P2 in half 1, Mr. Daniel Gore, and the race 1 winner, Mr. Tate Lytle, rolls off 16th. 17th, somebody who was kind of quiet in the back half of that race, Mr. AJ Plemons, and good old Vector Adam Peeler will roll off P18. 19th, Patrick Hahey, and 20th, somebody who was running up front really early on, struggled about halfway through, Mr. Noah Brown rolls off P20.
Some of our drivers that had some issues in half number 1, Dakota Pignataro rolls off P21. Connor Jones in P22. Gilberto Javier Gomera rolls off P23. And Jordan Tarbell rolls off P24. P25 is going to be Blake Barney, probably the heartbreak of half 1, ran up front all race and just had some issues on pit road. Aaron Evans rolls off in P26. Ray Bracey, we talked to him a little bit during half number 1, had some issues. He's going to have some work to do. And in P28, who I do not even know is here, I don't see him connected to the server. Hayden Tuff, he's definitely not here, so I don't believe he's going to be taking the start of half number 2.
Talked about computer issues earlier on when Neil was in here. I think that is what he's dealing with, as we are now rolling with a short pace lap here, only one. Dave Carpenter, you see him down there on the bottom. Thomas Capuano warming those tires up on the outside. I think we're going to see maybe a little bit of the same stuff that we saw. Sometimes, though, we have one calm half, we have one crazy half. I don't really know. I don't know if that was a calm half or a crazy half. They went green for a while, so I'd say it's calm. So we might be in for a wild ride.
Yeah, I think it's a common theme. We usually see half ones where the qualifying happens. So you typically have your faster drivers start up near the front. You typically have the drivers who are a little bit slower. Oh, Dylan Thomas, yeah, he's on the pit road there. But through turn number 4 here, we're going to have another half start here in just a moment. Dave Carpenter is your control car on the inside line. Green flag is out. Good start on the inside. Or on the outside, excuse me, for Thomas Capuano. He's actually going to nose ahead into turn number 1, taking that outside line through 1 and 2. We'll see if he can keep the momentum, but that truck wound up to take the lead off into turn number 3. I think that action's going to happen sideways. Ooh, that's that. Matt Hackathorn in 04. He's going to get turned around. I think somebody else involved, Dustin Dewar. And I think that's the only 2, surprisingly.
There's a car up against the wall.
Oh no.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Zach Evans as well.
It might be okay.
I definitely think the front end is a little bit narrower than as was designed, but we'll have to see how hard he hit that wall. Replay is coming here.
It looks a little weird to me. It looked like maybe he was a little skewed, but just breaks loose on that Hackathorn there. Tags Dustin Dewar. Looks like Zach's just going to try to miss the wreck.
Talking to Matt before tonight, he said he was running a new force feedback, basically profile on his wheel, so maybe he didn't have the feel there. Big hit for the 6.
Yeah, that's a little more than what I thought it was.
Zach bungled that wall.
Yeah, he kangaroo hopped. That was pretty wild. We're gonna ride on board here with the number 6 machine. Nowhere to go. Pinch into that wall. Absolutely rocked the suspension of that thing.
You can tell it is broken too. It went dead straight, and he can't even turn it. Can't even turn off the wall, barely.
Let me see if anybody got any meatball flags. I would venture a guess maybe Zach did.
If he does not have one, he's got to be pretty close as far as the damage to that number 6 machine.
He has one. iRacing not showing it. Well, Ty, we were talking about a clean half and potentially some chaos. Lap 1, we have a truck in the air.
Yeah. I would certainly say that our answer has been given to us. Zach Evans, unfortunately, the guy that bit the bullet there. Absolutely insane how quickly that things can change, though. We talked about Matt Hackathorn, the strategy he pulled, just got a little loose. And I think that just comes down to being comfortable with what the truck's going to do in half 1, and then we have the track slightly change with the weather. You have cold tires, maybe a little bit more push because you're trying to get the jump on these guys. So a lot of factors that probably played into that there. And I think that's normally what happens with half 2. Everybody that gets reset gets a disadvantage, and they have to try to make up for that. Matt Hackathorn obviously was at the front, so he didn't really have as much of anything to lose. He actually gained a lot by the invert, but early on in the races, things like that happen.
And we have a new situation up front for you. The first 2 rows have actually swapped their positions, so Dave Carpenter now second. Thomas Capuano is now your leader, and then Jake Scarborough and Dallas Mayan have both swapped. So Jake's now in P3, Dallas now in P4. So that big run that Thomas got off of turn number 2 there definitely helped him. That caution came out pretty quickly off of 2, so that high line definitely coming into play. You can get a huge run if you run that line on the restart. It's just that it tends to chew the tires up, maybe wear them out a little bit prematurely if you run that high line too long here. So Capuano now, he's starting on the bottom to see what kind of a restart he can get. That 71 did not get the best restart or best start when we went green initially. So let's see what he can do on that outside line there.
Something to note already, obviously, maybe taking advantage of some of those cars that were involved in the wreck, and cars checking up. Tate Lytle already up 5 spots from the 16th position. He is P11. Nonetheless, Thomas Capuano and Dave Carpenter are going to lead us back to the restart zone here on lap 4. Pace car is about halfway down pit road. We're in the restart zone. A little bit of a push from Jake Scarborough there to get going. Dave did not get going. So Thomas Capuano will have about a 3/10 of a second lead there into 1 and 2. Jake Scarborough is going to get cleared for second. James Miller on the move to try to challenge Dave Carpenter for the 3rd spot. David Westergreen breaks into the top 5.
Yep, that's your first side-by-side battle for position. Actually, as I say that, now the battle for the lead, not much anymore because Jake Scarborough has decided to take that and start driving away from the 21. Ooh, not so much. It gets a little bit tight off at turn number 4. Capuano shows his nose, but thinks better of it there. So Jake Scarborough, your position number 4 starter on tonight, has made his way up to the lead.
Zach Evans to pit road.
Talked about Jake being involved in those incidents earlier in half 1. He drove his way back from the field after that. So he looked pretty speedy, and obviously right now leading some laps here early on in half number 2 with Thomas Capuano tight behind. They've pulled away by about half a second back to James Miller, a couple tenths back to David Westergreen and David Carpenter, who are fighting for the 4th spot, and they are all packed up behind those two.
We have a bit of a hornet's nest back for the 6th place battle for position. We have a couple of our trucks who started further on back, our top finishers from half number 1 trying to make their way through the field on board with Dallas Myhand here. He's currently in the 7th spot. He's got Carpenter and Stapp in front of him. It looks like he's going to try to make quick work of that 71 of Carpenter off of turn number 2, keep that truck to the low side, get the grip, get those right side tires hooked up. Not going to be able to do it here off of turn number 4 with that 71 on the outside. Doesn't have all the room he needs to make that pass. And actually, he's looking to lose a spot from the 66 of Neil Rutt going around the outside.
Meanwhile, back at the front, Thomas Capuano, your new leader, he gets around Jake Scarborough. So now he will do the leading as Jake's going to try to run him back down. Here, Tate Lytle talking about it's a little scary. Trying to pass all these guys. He and Daniel Gore up to the 11th and 12th position, so a lot of movement from those two. As nonetheless, now the fight is on for P3. David Westergreen making a challenge to the outside of James Miller. I have said nonetheless about 20 times tonight, I apologize.
David Westergreen having something to prove from half number 1. He had a good run going until some trouble late and was very upset about that. So don't want to do a commentator's curse against him, but he kind of has that happening a lot of weeks, it sounds like. So want to see some good luck for him. Adam Peeler on pit road. He had some issues. He was back running in about 15th or so before he pitted. So not sure what happened to him. We'll have to check up on that in a little bit. But now exclusively holder of 3rd place is James Miller. He's gotten that position from David Westergreen. Noah Brown almost in the wall there off of turn number 4. He got so close to that wall, I don't think he could put a hair in between that truck and the wall.
I'd like to point out the fastest lap was set by Dylan Thomas a couple laps ago. He is moving.
Yeah, he missed the start. He's now passing Noah Brown for that 12th position. So, nonetheless, okay, I'm done. I gotta find a new word. Somebody help me, please. Help me find a new word. It's
less
not
than none.
Furthermore.
Furthermore, thank you. I'm going to say that about 30 times now. We have a battle for that 3rd spot. Darren Staff looking at the inside of David Westergreen, not going to get there. So James Miller will continue to hold that spot. Neil Rutt, Dallas Myhand trying to challenge. And right behind them, our 1st and 2nd place finishers at half 1. Daniel Gore, Tate Lytle, they are getting up there. So we're on board with Darren Staff now. Was there movement with the Mountain Dew stuff? Because I don't think that was one to his right side.
This was not here.
That was absolutely not there. He is actively consuming Mountain Dew. He's going to get around David Westergreen for the 4th spot. He's side by side.
Can we just get a look at his face? How locked in he is? How rigid he is on that wheel? He is.
Why would you say
He's
that?
driving that thing.
Caution!
Oh. I think something with the 65 of Noah Brown.
He did just say, "Go ahead and call that one on me."
What is up with my keyboard?
Oh boy.
Don't talk about how rigid a man is.
Yeah, that was
It's a choice.
yeah. I'm not gonna wait till Bojo's
whoa.
counterpart. Oh my lord! I think this started. Oh man, Hackathon again!
There
I
was
think
so much
this-
going on there.
I think this happened earlier in 1 and 2 because Noah was very loose through 1 and 2. Down the backstretch, he was going really slow, and I don't know if it carried through 3 and 4, or if he had an issue. That's where that happened, and then he's just still fighting.
Too much beans. Oh, too much
That's an odd
beans.
one.
Wait, holy beans, holy beans!
And he just kept adding the beans.
He just
Roll
too much
that
for
beautiful bean
holidays.
footage. Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Yeah, you liked when I said that last night, didn't you?
I did.
Well, that can be taken pretty badly out of context. Oh, no. We had a race last night and I said that.
Sounds like Race Control is going to call that a nobody racing deal. So. There was a lot going on there in turn 3. There was about 3 separate wrecks that should have happened, so I think that's the right call there.
Certainly the good call there for Mick, as I'm trying to gather myself. I don't know. We've given Bojo lots of content tonight. Back at the front, 3 drivers are going to stay out. 4 drivers, actually, I believe. Thomas Capuano, Neil Rutt, Aaron Evans, and Dakota Pignataro will stay out. And I believe that is it, unless somebody else is going to decide to do so. Nope, everybody else is pitting. So Daniel Gore, Jake Scarborough, James Miller, Darren Staff, Dallas Myhan, David Westergreen are your top 10 out of pit road, other than these first 4 that have stayed out. As yeah, it was about 5 trucks involved in that wreck with Noah. They scattered to try to avoid him. Some people hit the wall, some people hit the apron.
And you said Race Control deemed that on nobody? That racing incident?
They did.
Yep. Little interesting doohickey I'm seeing here from pit road is 69 Noah, or 69 of Daniel Gore. He actually took 2 tires on pit road, so that's why he was able to jump a couple of the cars he was racing. So let's see how that turns out. 2 tires is a bit of a gamble here at Dover. It can be good. It can be very bad. It definitely changes the handling of whatever vehicle you're driving. So he's probably going to be a little bit looser once we get going green here and have a little bit more hanging on to do for that truck.
Can we get a gallon of Sunny D check on the Daniel Gore?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I want to see how much he's...
progress. Oh, he's going to have to drink a lot.
That's a considerable amount. That is a considerable amount.
That is about a glass or 2 right there, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. If it's not below the label by the time that this half is done, if we talk to him tonight, he's finishing it in the interview.
If he wins, I told you guys, if he wins, he needs to drench himself in that.
If he wins, it's gone. If we talk to him tonight, it's at least below the label.
We have another restart coming as we let Daniel get to his Sunny D. Pace track's about to pull off here. Your leader is Thomas Capuano next to Neil Rudd. 2 short track guys going to be fighting for the lead here once we get going green again. Aaron Evans and Dakota Pignataro are going to line up in row number 2. And then those 2 Redux teammates of Gore and Scarborough in row 3. Green flag out once again. Good start on the inside row for Thomas Capuano. Pretty good start on the outside as well for Neil Rutt. He's going to be able to get single file into turn number 1. First battle for position is further back with that 18 of Dakota Pignataro. He's one of the cars that I believe stayed out, and you can tell he is dropping like an absolute rock. That pick 18 in the, ooh, that's my pick. He is in the wall. Turn 3, caution out.
Another certified Redux racing moment.
Yeah,
oh, what, the 18?
Well.
Yeah, Dakota stayed out, and then Jake was trying to get around him. Jake moved low. Dakota got into him. I don't know. That's a whole lot.
to see what happens here in the replay. But I think that 18 was so off the pace. That had to be where the wreck starts. They were 3 wide in the tournament. Maybe
I would
I'm
not
sure
put
if
that on
was
the 18.
really.
Yeah,
I don't think he was. I don't think he was any part of that. Really, he just got caught up in it. I think the 77 got a little bit loose in the middle there and just lost the rear end.
I would say he was definitely a part of the scenario, but I would not give blame.
You know, his play it was really that was his play in it. In my part was the staying out and then Jake having to go under.
Some net code actually.
Completely. The move was on the 77. The net code obviously unfortunate, but the start of the situation was due to the 18 staying out.
Guys, bad news if you are a Santi fan. Meatball flag.
Oh wow. For that little hit he had, that's wild.
Look, on board with Santi. How's he doing? That man is impressed.
Yeah, I mean, understandably so. I mean, he's had a pretty up and down season so far. I believe he did miss a race earlier this season. And when at a point like this where you need points and you were running good in the first race, to have that end on the second one, it's unfortunate for Santi. Maybe not over. I don't know how bad that meatball is. Sometimes it's just a little bit. But, no, he's still on the racetrack. He will be pitting this time to fix it.
Yeah, that was a very light hit, and he really only scraped the wall and then nosed into the back of another truck. So hopefully it's a quick meatball, maybe 10, 15 seconds. I've definitely seen that before, and he can get back out there and going. But definitely a little bit of damage, but really not. I mean, that's one of the milder meatballs I've seen in a while. Usually when you see a meatball in iRacing, the truck is destroyed and won't drive anymore. I mean, we saw Zach Evans, iRacing giveth and iRacing taketh sometimes. Zach Evans hit the wall and the truck literally would not turn. He did not have a meatball. Santi noses into another truck and gets a meatball, so just unfortunate.
Speaking of giveth and taketh away, racing
Santiago got a black flag. I'm assuming for entering a closed pit, since he did not pit the first time they were around.
Who had one?
Santi.
Oh wow, yeah. And then obviously I just mentioned the EOL. Unfortunately, placed on the 18 car there, so race control deemed that was his fault. That started the wreck, which I mean I agree with that to a point, but I do believe that the actual wreck itself might have been going a different way, but nonetheless.
Listen, we don't have to make those calls.
We don't, and that's the good thing. You know, I feel like it's easy for me to be a couch cushion quarterback. Jake Scarborough is very unhappy.
Guys, even more bad news for a Santi fan. Too much damage. He's finished.
Oh
wow. Yeah, tough break.
As we roll through turns 3 and 4 for the restart, Thomas Capuano, Neil Rutt, they are your front row. Daniel Gore on 2 tires, and Aaron Evans, they are your second row. Green flag is back out. A great jump for Thomas Capuano. He's done that every single restart. He's going to clear Neil Rutt. Daniel Gore to the inside of him. The outside lane stacking up.
Daniel Gore on those 2 tires, looking to make good work of them. He's up to P2 through turn 2, and behind him, that's I believe that was the 09 of James Miller. Yes, that is. He's on 4, looking to make a move below him into turn number 3. I think those 4 tires, if we can go a couple laps there, are definitely going to be the move. So he's the first car on 4. Look for him to make a move to the front.
A little bit further in the back, we've got Darren Staff and Aaron Evans. Their teammates, they're side by side for the 6th spot. Right behind them, Dylan Thomas and Dallas Myhan. They're going to go side by side as we're on board with James as he's looking to get around Daniel Gore. We see him rocking the VR. Heart rate of 146 right now. Normally, when we do a Kynan Jones check, I believe last week we realized that his was a little higher than Kynan's. That is absolutely not the case this time. Kynan is a lot. Kynan might have went to see a cardiologist.
Yeah, that's a pretty low one for Kynan. Actually, literally half the heart rate James has. But the Kynan currently running back in P14. James is running up here in P3 right now, behind the Danny G truck, which everybody knows about now. Of course, Daniel Gore, a huge Josh Berry fan. So I heard he was going to have another truck for next weekend, and it is related to Josh Berry, so definitely be on the lookout for that. But putting that Danny G truck to good use, and with the Sunny D he's drinking tonight, hopefully he doesn't drink too
Oh,
much.
contact!
Oh my goodness!
What a save!
Wow, what a save! Exactly. He got nerfed sideways in turn number 1 from the 56 of Lytle, and that was some driving right there.
Oh no!
Oh,
Again!
no. Oh,
That was
my-
netcode. That was some
What
pretty
is
bad
this guy?
netcode.
I think we have a Tokyo Drift event for the 09. He is still sideways. Those rear tires have absolutely just melted off the car. And he has fallen back to 17th, it looks like now.
Does Allstate still have the good driver race award or something?
That was incredible.
That was
I feel like
the
Kyle Petty now.
move of the race.
Absolutely. Two on 2 laps that were next to each other. That was wild. 2 saves.
I think that was the same lap.
That was the same lap.
Yeah, that was the same lap actually.
back-to-back
Just
corners.
both ends of the racetrack.
That poor guy got dinked and donked.
Much dink, many donk.
Thomas Capuano still leads Daniel Gore looking to challenge on those 2 tires. Tate Lytle, the guy who dinked, is now trying to get to P3. Trying to get to P2.
Zach Evans having
P3.
issues.
Oh, no.
Zach Evans has taken a tow to pit road. Something happened. Didn't trigger a caution, though.
I think there was some smoke there in turn number 2, and I think that might have been what happened. Because I didn't see any truck.
What?
Yep. And how was that not a caution?
Did he hit it? Oh.
Right before pit road.
Just got loose.
No, it's turn 1. Hard hit. Yeah,
That should have been a caution, yeah.
Surprising. Went head on in the outside wall. Okay, well.
He applied that directly to his forehead.
Oh, no. Tate Lytle to the inside of Daniel Gore. He's going to try to get him for second. I think he will here. These 4 tires against 2. A little bit of contact. Not too bad. Just a little bit of a boop. And Tate Lytle should get to the... maybe inside of Thomas Capuano. He will. We're going to have a 3-car fight for the lead.
We have 3 wide here. Ooh, Thomas Capuano is not willing to give it up too easily, but he's going to be 3 wide through 1 and 2. Danny G on the outside and Tate Lytle on the inside. Both of them get around him. And as it starts, that battle for the lead finishes, and now it's between Gore and Lytle again.
That was a pretty effective shake and bake there by Tate and Daniel. Obviously not the way they wanted that to happen. But nonetheless, they get it done. They're around Thomas Capuano. Darren Staff now to the inside of Thomas Capuano, who did stay out. To note that for Thomas, so probably going to be pitting soon. We saw Matt Hackathorn do the same thing in half 1. This could work out for Thomas, but we also could be approaching another yellow here.
By the way, guys, we got a couple Redux Racing drivers in the Info Care Center when you guys get a chance.
I think now would maybe be a good time while we have a calm second here. I guess I will start with Mr. Jake Scarborough. Jake, it's type in the booth. You got a copy, buddy?
Yes, sir.
Obviously not an ideal call there for Dakota to stay out. It kind of puts you in a weird spot. Not really much you could do. I think, obviously, when you went low, you were trying to get around him, but maybe that netcode, unfortunate. You were really quick in half 1. We saw you involved in a couple early wrecks. You made your way back up. Run us through how you felt, out there, and maybe your frustrations with the way your race ended.
I mean, half one was annoying because I should have taken tires. I ended up not on that last stop, and it possibly cost me a top 10. I wanted to keep that streak going. I've finished top 10 every week so far, at least in one of the races. And, half 1 I got wrecked by the 18, so I'm not really shocked he'd make a call like that to stay out, especially when he's running, outside top 20 most of the race. But, you're going to have people make decisions like that. It's going to happen. It's annoying. I wasn't looking forward to this track anyways, but, it's annoying as is when you're up front, feel good, and then that's how your race ends.
Yeah, obviously not the way that you want to end it. You were looking for a pretty good point stay here. You've not had the worst season, but you needed a couple good results to maybe make yourself feel a little better, and it's not obviously what you got tonight.
Because I'm already sitting 4th in points, I want to keep that cushion, keep that confidence up, and, this certainly wasn't it going into next week, but we'll see.
Well, hopefully, buddy, when we talk to you next week, it's a little bit better circumstances than this, but we'll let you pop back and maybe decompress and maybe try to strategize for next week.
Appreciate it.
That was Jake Scarborough. He is unfortunately out here in half two. We have drivers making pit stops. James Miller down pit road. Thomas Capuano has fallen off to about the 7th position right now. Still your same 1 and 2, Tate Lytle, Daniel Gore, Darren Staff. AJ Clemens up to 4th, Dylan Thomas P5. Blake Barney, someone who we have not talked about at all here in half number 2. He rides in the 6th spot.
Good.
Yep, and we'll have to see how this strategy plays out. We saw in half number 1 that we had a lot of wildly different strategies that all kind of converged towards the end of the race, and it ultimately ended up with Tate Lytle getting. Oh, actually, what's wrong with James?
I think he may have hit the wall or something. It might have been an unintentional pit stop. All right. I think we also still have Santi in Field Care Center.
Yep, we'll bring him up here in just a second. We just wanted to get through these pit stops, but I think something wrong with the 09 of James Miller.
Thomas Capuano now on pit road.
Santi, this is camera right up in the booth. You got a copy? Well, tough break for you in half number 2 there. You got a great run in half 1. Top 5 finish and a pretty strong overall run. What happened to you there in half number 2? What I saw was just a really light tap on the wall and then hit the truck in front. It's like too big of a hit, but you got a meatball and too much damage were done out of it.
I don't know what happened, but from what I've seen, it's just I don't know. I thought I was a little light-minded in the whole racing thing, but man, you got people making decisions like the ones that were made earlier, and it's not fun for everybody. But you know, things happen. I didn't really see much. I just saw cars in front of me just stopping all of a sudden, so I tried to get to the wall to see, kind of slow my momentum so I wouldn't, ram into anybody. But yeah, I guess it just wasn't enough, and my car is no longer my left front was all messed up. Couldn't even turn the car. But it's just one of those things where we have to accept people not making good decisions, and yeah, I guess we were just on the bad side of it tonight.
Yeah, well, you had a really good run in half number 1, 4th place finish, so nothing to be too ashamed of whatsoever. You've had some really good runs this season. We go to Richmond next week. How you feeling about that one?
I'm looking forward to it. I think Richmond is one of my better tracks on the circuit, so hopefully we can get a good result there and, get back on those points that we've lost over the past couple weeks.
All right, awesome. Well, appreciate you talking to us, Santi. Go out there and root on your teammate who's currently in P4. I believe the rest of the Redux trucks are all in the garage right now, so.
Yeah, is that last hope?
Yeah. But you got one out there. He's doing pretty good. We'll see you again next week. But good luck. We'll definitely be talking to you again.
Yeah, thank you.
Quick note, guys. Jordan Tarble, who came back around, and Aaron Evans both got black flags. So actually, this is why the 17 came back around again.
Noticed, I believe, as well, Zach Evans has decided to park that machine for the night. No, what's that? Or, no, that was Aaron. Aaron was the one that pitted. Sorry. I saw Evans, and, and I just put two and two together. So Zach has been done. Aaron is now served that penalty. He's back out on the racetrack. However,
the 09 also got a penalty as well.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
so
that's why he was on pit road.
Oh! David Westbrook and Fidel Fabian with a little bit of contact there, maybe. Running in that, where are they at? It's a 10th position. Oh, what are we? What?
Yeah, we got some argy-bargy going on here. It's turn number 4. That's the battle for 11th right there. This group of trucks is about, I want to say, about a second and a half behind the one that's next down the road. That's the number 7 of Bojo, Ray Bracey. Having a pretty good run. We talked to him in half number 1, and he said he thought he was driving good, just got caught up in some other people's messes, and here he is running in solidly in the top 10, P6 for Bojo.
He's actually going to bring it down pit road this time, as well as Fidel Fabian, Dallas Myhan, AJ Clemens, Darren Staff, Dave Carpenter. A lot of guys coming down pit road that swing. And left out on the racetrack, Tate Lytle, Dylan Thomas, Kynan Jones, David Westergreen, and Gilberto Javier Gomera. As there's Tate Lytle, our leader, down to pit road. Dylan Thomas, everybody on pit road.
Kynan Jones sideways. Like he's going to gather it up. Not sure if he made any contact. I don't see anything on the truck. I think he just kept it off the wall. But we are just seeing a little bit of those pit road issues come into play. We saw some in half number one. Just so tough to get on this pit road.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it, too, is the way that the banking plays out. You're trying to slow down and then get turned in, but you're already breaking loose naturally because of the way that the corner is. So it's, I don't know, it's weird, and I feel like it kind of plays the same way that, like, Atlanta used to, except it's a lot steeper.
I think it is. This track is pretty highly banked. I want to say it's 24 degrees or something like that, and the apron is absolutely flat. So that's really the same banking you see at other tracks like Charlotte and Texas before they messed it up. But they have banked aprons. So the transition from banking to apron here is just extremely violent. It does like to upset the car, and it really does play into that pit road definitely. So there's Neil Rutt. He is currently in P6, battling for pit with Capuano. That's Gilberto Javier Gomera spun around right at the start-finish line. So we're going to get a caution here with 19 laps to go. We have really just gotten through our pit cycle ties, so that's an interesting time for that caution to come out.
This may have hurt Blake Barney.
Yeah, it might have, because he did pit a little bit earlier, I believe, than most others. So let's see what happened up here number 4.
Apron.
Got on the apron. As I was talking about how harsh that transition is, he got on the apron and just decambers the truck, makes your suspension not level, and it just kind of spins you around.
He knew that he was loose before that. He tried to counteract it, but unfortunately, nothing that Gilberto could really do there to fix that. So that is going to bring out caution number 4, I believe, in half number 2. And you mentioned Blake Barney, the one that was really affected by that, pitted a lot earlier for the track position. Going to be interesting to see if he chooses to do anything here. Daniel Gore rides P3, Darren Staff P4, Thomas Capuano P5, AJ Clemens in the 6th spot, Kynan Jones. Decent rebound. Obviously, he's been running up there most of half 2, but not the greatest half 1 for him. Ray Bracey, we talked about him. Dallas Myhan, Dylan Thomas. Number of wave rounds, I believe, here in just a second.
Can we get another Sunny D check? I just want to see if he's keeping true to his word of drinking that during the race.
Not even a little. That's crazy.
I think that is still where it was last time we saw him. So we're gonna have to have a talk after the race. We were made aware that Sunny D was going to be consumed during the race, and it has not been consumed during the race, and we are a little bit upset up here in the booth.
I'm calling in the reinforcements. I'm telling Jake Scarborough to tell that man to drink it.
I've heard that an adequate amount of Sunny D does take away 2/10 from your lap time. So. Yeah, there we go. He's doing it. He's listening to us. He's getting the Sunny D out. He's going for the win. Yeah, we'll screen this here for you.
Yet, so I can't even take the call for that one. Tate Lytle, your leader. Blake Barney, talked about that earlier. Pit strategy. It's going to be interesting to see how he's going to hold on. 16 laps to go as we are rolling through turn 2 right now, going down the back straightaway in just a second. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out as far as everybody, because everybody pitted a little differently. Obviously, I think some of the first guys down pit road, if I remember correctly, Thomas Capuano was one of them, had that fuel strategy. Thankfully, he was able to have that yellow time to where he wasn't stuck 2 laps down.
Yeah, and a new player, not in tonight's event as a whole, but in this half number 2 of that 14 of Blake Barney. He was one of the fastest trucks there in half number 1. Just had some issues on pit road, and he's got another chance here tonight to do something. So look for that 14 to be fast. Look for that 14 to be aggressive, and look for that 45 to be fast and aggressive too. Darren Staff, we've mentioned him before the race. He's looking for his first win still. Had a great run in half number 1. Having a great run in half number 2. Green flag out once again here at Dover. 15 laps to go. Good start on the inside for Tate Lytle. And he's going to get single file into turn number 1. Blake Barney about a half a car length behind him off of turn number 2. He's looking inside. He's not going. He doesn't have the room to do anything there. Now the battle is going to be for third place, almost 3 wide. AJ Clemens, Gore, and Staff all trying to get into that same spot. And only one truck can fit in that at a time. Right now it is Staff by a nose. Daniel Gore wants to take that spot on the inside through turn 2. That's going to be tight. Doesn't have the room. He needs to make the move. And the battle for third place is underway here.
Thought AJ Clemens was going to make that 3 wide move down to the bottom of 3 and 4 a little bit earlier. He's going to clear Daniel Gore that time. He is on the move now, sets his sails to the 45 truck of Mr. Darren Staff. He's still looking for that first OSCA win. AJ and Darren both are. So they're going to be 2 aggressive guys to watch as they now pounce on OSCA veteran Blake Barney. As we now look a little bit further back, Kynan Jones, Dylan Thomas, they're side by side. David Westergreen in that fight. Bojo just ahead. Somebody else that we've been talking about all night long, Mr. Neil Rutt, he's behind Dallas Myhan trying to get involved.
And that is on your screen. That's the battle from about 6th to about 11th, 12th place right now. We're on board with Kynan Jones. Kynan is currently sawing at that wheel, and I show Kynan as running in P8 right now. I think just lost a couple spots there through 3 and 4, but not from a lack of trying. You can see that that wheel was absolutely all over the place, and the front tires just would not hook up for him, but has gotten it, well, as I say that, I say he got it straight, but then he was sideways off of turn number 2 again, so definitely not handling like he needs it for the end of this race.
Can also confirm the cardiologist did not hang on long. Kynan's heart rate is now back up where it normally is. As we look a little bit further ahead of Kynan, David Westergreen, Thomas Capuano, they're fighting for the 8th spot. David should be able to take that pretty well. I think those are the tires that Thomas had to take early, showing right there is David Westergreen now to the inside of Dylan Thomas. He's looking for the 7th spot, and he should take it pretty handily.
And a shout out to Dylan Thomas real quick. He did not take the start of the race and has driven his way back up to the 7th spot. Battle for second here. Blake Barney on the inside. AJ Clemens outside. AJ Clemens, we haven't heard from a lot in this race. He started back in the 17th spot, had some troubles with half number 1, so didn't even make the invert. So good run for him to get back up to P2. He's on the outside line looking good.
Oh,
Darren has a little bit sideways.
Yeah, Daniel looking to pounce, and he's going to do so. Try to get to the inside of Darren Staff. I think he's going to not quite be there out of turn 2.
And,
a little loose out of the 45.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be set sailing for AJ. He's gotten clear of that 14 and driving away now. Quite a bit of distance up to the 56 machine of Tate Lytle. He's about a second up the road, but 7 laps to go. If AJ wants to go get that win, he's going to have to go now.
Right on board with Darren Staff. He's looking at the rear end of Blake Barney. Looking pretty good all night, Darren has. And 7 laps to go here. He's still not necessarily in contention unless Tate makes a mistake and gets to the back, gets back to these guys. But an overall great night for Darren and looking really good.
And absolutely, as a driver, really, you got to put yourself in these positions. You got to run up in the top 5. Even though that win hasn't come for him yet, if he keeps putting himself up in the top 5 with shots to win, he's going to get that before too long. So doing a great job tonight. He's got the defending champion behind him. And, not much more you can ask for from Darren, doing a great job.
Something to also note, we've normally been talking about Tate Lytle and AJ Clemens when we talk about the South Shore trucks. David Westergreen and Bojo, they are 6th and 7th. So an overall a fantastic night for these South Shore trucks as Daniel Gore's going to make that move on Darren Staff. Darren's going to hang on to that right rear. Clear for Daniel Gore. I expect Darren to make a move completely into 1 and 2, though.
Yeah, it's just such a hard move to hold there on the outside, especially off of 4. Yep, there's the sun there. Something we haven't actually brought up yet is iRacing recently had an update where they changed the lighting system quite a bit. Some some drivers have been having some issues because the sun is about 10 times too bright. It kind of looks more like a nuclear blast than actual sunlight. So you definitely see it here on the broadcast, and I'm sure some updates will be coming for that. We'll be looking to
I
see
don't want
that.
that, God. It's realistic.
Very realistic, but unfortunately, when it happens in the really bad spots and you get loose when it happens, you can't really see what you're doing.
Yeah, and really, when you think about it in real life, if you got sun that bright, you can do things about it. You can put sunglasses on, a tinted visor, close your eyes. I mean, can't do that in the sim. We got 2 laps to go here. We're on board with Tate. He has kept that lead of a second over AJ Clemens pretty consistently. He's coming through 3 and 4 to get the white flag and looking for his second sweep of the season. He swept both halves at Auto Club, was not here at Las Vegas. We saw the Redux trucks sweep that event. Daniel Gore and Noah Brown were able to get the wins there, but Tate Lytle has done everything he needed to tonight to do what he needed to do, come back from that vacation and get maximum points on the night. A sweep for South Shore and a sweep for Tate Lytle off of turn number 4. He wins half 2 at Dover after winning half 1. And what a drive from that 56. We asked him before the race, tell me a reason that I should not pick you, and he gave us some reasons. They were reasons, they weren't good reasons, and he came home with a sweep for half number 2.
How about AJ, right? You know, they've done that at North Wilkesboro. They did it at Auto Club. They've now done it here in Dover. Blake Barney, absolutely fantastic run for him. He comes home P3. David Westergreen, Bojo, they make it all 4 South Shore cars in the top 10. Neil Rutt with P9. Great run for him. Fidel Fabian rebounded to 11th. A lot of good guys, or good runs for guys that, you know, we normally don't see a lot out of.
Yep, Dallas Mayan with a strong P10. He's had a lot of bad luck in this season. I think he's got to be happy with that. Just bringing the truck home, bringing it home with a P10, and some victory burnouts for the number 56. He's going to burn it down. That was his 5th win in half number 1. That's win number 6. Or excuse me, that was 4 in half 1, so win number 5 in half number 2 for the 56. And that is out of 10 events. He's officially won half the races so far, Ty.
Yeah, I mean, what a season we're seeing so far for Tate Lytle, and to think that we're not even halfway done is very impressive from this 56 machine. And South Shore as a whole, really, as we see them probably getting to do some victory burnouts as a team. Bojo's going to join them there, and makes it easier for us when one driver wins both halves. It maybe means that we get to chat with somebody who wasn't inside the top 3. Maybe we can force Daniel Gore to drink a little more Sunny D.
I support that 110% because he definitely did not live up to his promise. And it probably wasn't even a promise. I'm probably making it up here.
No, it was a promise.
The broadcast booth. It was a promise. Okay, well, even if it wasn't, I was going to hold him to that anyway because I like to live in my own world, and he's got to be drinking that Sunny D. We'll have some interviews in just a moment. We'll let Tate do his burnouts, let everybody get their anger and frustrations out, and maybe some happiness. And we'll have him up in just a moment.
Oh, my frames.
We roll through your top 18 finishers here tonight for half number 2. Tate Lytle, again, your winner. AJ Clemens, P2. Blake Barney returns to OSCA with a P3 finish here in half number 2. Daniel Gore, P4. That rhymes. Darren Staff, 5th. Ray Bracey, 6th. David Westergreen, 7th. Dylan Thomas, 8th. Neil Rutt, 9th. Dallas Myhand is your 10th place finisher, and we'll round out the top 10.
Number 11th is Fidel Fabian. Not as strong a run as half number 1, but still continuing that good campaign for the rookie in the 51. Connie Jones comes home in 12th. Thomas Capuano ran up front all race. Fell back there a little bit at the end. Comes home in P13. Still a good run for him. Dave Carpenter started on the pole. Comes home in P14. James Miller had some issues there. Comes home in 15th. Dakota Pignataro, we saw him in a wreck there at the beginning. Comes home in 16th. Gilberto Javier Gomera comes home in 17th. Aaron Evans, 18th. Jordan Tarbell, 19th. And Adam Peeler rounds out your top 20.
P21 is going to be Matt Hackathorn in the 04 machine. Patrick Hahey comes home 22nd. 23rd, Dustin Dewar. 24th, Jake Scarborough. 25th, Noah Brown. 26th, Santiago. They will round out those 3 Redux trucks who had awful luck here in half number 2. Zach Evans, P27. And Caden Tufts did not take the grid for half number 2. I think normally we would start with the P3 finisher of half number 2, but what I'm thinking here, because Daniel Gore was the second place finisher in half number 1, we don't have a different half 1 winner. Maybe we peer pressure him into drinking some more Sunny D before we get to these top 3 guys here from half number 2.
I support that 100%.
Let's go ahead and get him up here then. Mr. Daniel Gore, type in the booth, buddy. You got a copy?
I got you.
All right. Well, I'm going to skip the pleasantries here. You finished second in half number 1. You finished 4th here in half number 2. We were promised that you would drink that Sunny D a lot more than you have, sir, and you lied to us.
I'm sorry. I said I had a gallon. I didn't say I was going to drink it all.
Well, we might have false information because Carlos said it was a promise.
You said it was a promise.
What?
It's also been added to the graphics, so it's 100% true now.
Yeah, now it is a promise, so get the chugging.
Lied about it.
Don't throw up. Don't throw up. Don't do that on broadcast. But
I can't.
he said I cannot consume any more Sunny D. Well, buddy, I mean, nonetheless.
Here, get it to below the label.
Right now?
Like alive. We're doing it live, buddy.
Live? Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
You're going to be the death of me.
Roll that beautiful bean footage. I think we're going a little further than the label, but I respect it.
Oh,
That's good enough. That's good enough.
That's close enough. Yeah, we don't want to see it.
No,
We don't want
to
to
drink anymore.
That don't feel good.
Yeah, we were actually we were talking about that. Like, you cannot feel good after consuming a third of that, let alone half of it, and that was half of it. So
I mean, I guess it's below the top part of the label.
Now do it with milk next week.
Oh,
absolutely
no.
not. Are you lactose intolerant?
Nope.
Okay, good. Yeah, no, I'm
He's got all
lactose
10
intolerant.
toes.
That would not.
Can confirm.
Isn't exactly what that means, but sure. All right, buddy. Well, anybody want to shout out for getting you a P2 in half number 1 and P4 in half number 2?
Want to shout out my team because they got some terrible luck in the second half, and they were kind of guiding me through it. And at the end there, especially. Let's see. I want to thank Jordan Kennington. He watches. I don't think I've done that yet once. And Sunny D. There you go. Simple.
The American cheese of orange juice.
Yeah.
All right,
It's
buddy.
the Kraft mayonnaise of orange juice.
The Kraft mayonnaise. It's crazy. All right, buddy. Well, we appreciate you coming up. We're going to send you back down to celebrate your good run tonight. Don't drink any more of that. You might chunga.
I'm picking.
All right, buddy. That was Daniel Gore.
That
Your,
plane ride's
P4
not going to be
finisher,
pleasant.
Number 2. Absolutely not. I hope they have a bathroom. If not, open a window. You can't open a window on an airplane. Yeah, no, it's just not going to end well.
Somebody get Peter.
Let's go ahead and do we let's talk to our third place finisher in half number 2, Blake Barney. Had a good run half number 1, and I actually need to ask him one very important question too. Blake Barney, this is Cameron Rich up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, you got me.
We do. All right, one very important question. How do you feel about Sunny D?
I saw that truck. That was pretty cool. I don't know what the guy's name was, but that's a pretty clever custom scene.
He had a gallon of Sunny D that he was drinking during the race, and made it about halfway through, and I think he's about to vomit. So
I would not call that
we were
halfway.
just talking to him.
Yeah.
We'll call it like 45%, 40%. We'll give him a little bit of leeway there. But anyway, you had a great run in half number 1. First race of the season. Made a pretty big splash, kind of like a cannonball into a pool there. Ran great in half number 1. Hit road issues, I think, derailed your run. Came back to finish 3rd in half number 2. Take us through your night, and well, actually, take us through your night, and then we'll go to the other questions next.
Yeah, so it's been about 4 or 5 years since I ran this league, and Vic Bloom has been shooting me messages back and forth, seeing what I could run, and I was off the service for a while. But I got back on and answered his message, decided to come out and race tonight, but really didn't read the rule book too much, that we only had like about 10 gallons of fuel in the truck, so I didn't really practice getting onto pit road. So when I was having that good run the first time, I bombed it right onto pit road and hit the sand barrels like Jeffrey Earnhardt, so I would have been fired. off of that one. So I loaded her up and started 25th in the second one, and a little bit of pit strategy got me up there, and I just didn't really have enough tires at the end, but happy with third.
Yeah, it was really fun to watch you take it to Tate up there in half number one, and then even in half number two, you got up to made a good run to the front there. First race we've seen you all season. Are we potentially going to see you in any more races?
Yeah, I hope so. I'm gonna try to race as much as I can, but work at nights usually, so it's a little bit tough for me, and which is why I didn't really have time to get on the service. But I'm back on here now, so I'm gonna be trying to plan my schedule so I can make it out here.
Very cool. Well, the next race we're going to see you at, do you have one planned, or is it just kind of taking it by ear now?
Fly off the seat of my pants, man. Just try to see if I'm open that Thursday, and if I am, so I had a lot of fun tonight, so I'd love to do it again sooner than later.
Absolutely. That is, it's always fun to come back when you haven't been here for a while, and you definitely made great use of it tonight. Our next three events are Richmond, Eldora, and Atlanta, so one hell of a schedule. A lot of really fun tracks on this calendar this year. Before we let you go, any shout-outs you have for us tonight?
Yeah, shout out Arslan Beers and Tom Capuano for getting me back in here and making me a paint for tonight.
All right. That was the lead came up in 25th in half number one. Definitely didn't run 25th, and came up third in half number two, Blake Barney. And we'll see who we have next. Who you want to bring up?
Let's go ahead and grab Mr. AJ Clemens here, our P2 finisher in half number two. AJ, it's time to booth, buddy. You got a copy?
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, we talked to you a couple weeks ago. I believe we also might have talked to you last week. You had a pretty good run there. You know, you finished second at Tate, and you were talking about how you were looking forward to this race maybe a little bit, with it being kind of like a short track, and you put another two fantastic, great runs on tonight. Obviously, you didn't finish as well in half number one, but you looked strong in half two, and I think you showed it off there, making the right moves in the end to bring it home P2. So walk us through how you felt tonight, if you felt there was anything you could do a little better, and how you managed the chaos.
Obviously I didn't get as much practice as I wanted to. I was trying to learn the first half, see what Tate was doing different than I was, gain a little speed. He obviously was a class of field 2 races in a row. And then we were running fourth that first half, felt pretty good, felt like we can get up to P2. And then I screwed myself on pit road for 2 weeks in a row now. Then pit road and just couldn't work my way back up through the field. And I feel like here it's kind of hard, the bottom to the top gets run off the corner. And we did that green flag pit stop, and then I screwed myself again. So that ended up in the 17th place finish, which starting in the back, especially at these kind of tracks, just sucks no matter what race you're in. And was able to pick them off and hold down a P2 again.
Yeah, I think the invert probably gets a little easier when you have a really quick teammate that starts just in front of you there, with Tate obviously winning the first half. He started right there, so he might have made some holds for you. So I believe Cam was saying that our next race is going to be Richmond, so that's another short track. Obviously, you're pretty good at the short tracks, and with the Winter Series, you dominated there. So how do you feel going forward? Do you feel like you have a shot next week?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I feel really good about the short track scenario. I think I have enough laps there in other cars. I don't really think I have enough laps there in trucks, but you know, we'll go get some practice laps and before that, and yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about it. I think I'll be one of the ones to pick for sure.
All right, buddy. Well, before we let you go, anybody you want to shout out? Obviously, it's been a great season to start for you guys at South Shore.
Yeah, just all the guys at South Shore. You know, David, Ray, Tate. Obviously, I think he has like 4 wins now, and I finished second, I think 4 times to him. So just I've known these guys only a couple weeks now, and it's been a fun couple weeks. They're really good guys, and hopefully we can keep racking up these team points and hold down to the end.
All right, buddy. We'll appreciate your time. Good runs tonight, and hopefully we get to see you in victory lane for that first win next week.
Thanks, guys.
All right, that was AJ Clemens, your P2 finisher here in half number 2. That leaves one guy for us to talk to again. Whiskey Girl himself, the guy who keeps winning races. He's won mathematically one every week, but Tate Lytle is going to be standing by with Mr. Cameron Ritt.
Yeah, Tate, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, sweep number 2 on the season. Not much to say other than you came out here and whooped some tail tonight. So it definitely wasn't a. It was definitely a whooping, but I wouldn't say that you like ran away from the whole field because you had a really good battle there with the 14 of Blake Barney, and I think AJ there at the end was pretty good in half number 2. So take us through your night and take us through the race 1 and race 2.
Yeah, good qualifying effort. I think I got on the track when the getting was good and got a good time in, and then that first half with Blake, I felt like he was pretty equal speed-wise, but he was running like a lane or two higher and just torching those right side tires, and by about lap 15 of the run, I was able to pretty well control it. He got by me once, and then once I realized we could make it on fuel, I put the throttle down and tried to get back around him just in case, and it worked out. Thankfully, it went green that first half, and the second half started to 16th. I mean, they wadded it up on the backstretch on lap 1. We were able to get through it. Then a good battle there with Gore and a few others. And the caution, I'm glad the caution waited until it did, because we had just come out of pit road. And everyone else had kind of pitted behind us, so we netted back out to the lead and didn't really have to do anything too crazy, because we had fresher tires than them at that point anyway, so it was just kind of, I got out to about a second lead and just kind of managed it there, and yeah, circumstances worked in our favor for sure. But shout out to Traders Brewing Company, Dad Louise, Jack Lowe, whoever else is watching. If you guys are down, if you guys are watching this still, see you guys tomorrow. And yeah, fun race. Glad I think that's 5 wins in a row that I've been here. Obviously missed Las Vegas last week, so on a little bit of streak here, and as long as Cam doesn't race anytime soon, it should be at least able to scare 6 or 7.
Well, I was going to bring that up. Next week we're going to Richmond, my favorite track, my home track. I'm actually not going to be here to even broadcast. I'll be at the Circuit of the Americas, so that'll be a fun time. But how are you feeling about Richmond?
I feel okay. I mean, obviously you got those short track guys like AJ, and then obviously Beers, who does it for a living, and they're gonna be fast. But Richmond's one of those tracks where, I mean, I've been on iRacing for 12, 13 years, maybe even longer than that now, and I mean, it's just one of those things that you've got so many laps at a certain track that you're going to be competitive. It just kind of comes down to circumstance, and if one of those guys has something extra that night, then that's just how it goes. But I'm looking forward to that, and then Eldora on the dirt in 2 weeks. I'm be real bummed if I don't get at least one win at Eldora. Obviously, it can turn into quite the show, but hopefully can go get one on the dirt. Been working on the dirt skill set, and hopefully it transfers over to NASCAR truck. But yeah, good race. Thank you guys for broadcasting it, and yeah, see if we can go get a couple more next week.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Tate. And that was your winner of 5 of the 10 races this season, Tate Lytle. I'd say that's a pretty good start to the year, Ty. Not much better you can do, realistically speaking. You could win all 10, but who's going to do that? But yeah, we do have Richmond next week, another short track on the event. We're going to have to see how those real short track guys do, like AJ and Austin Beers, like Tate said. But Richmond is always a wild card. That is a track that you can run 1,000 laps on it, and it's still going to drive a little bit differently each time you go to it. So I'm looking forward to it. Ty, any final thoughts for tonight?
No, I mean, I think we had great races tonight, obviously, doing it in honor of Aaron, who, again, we missed very greatly, and I'm glad that we're still doing this race for him. I think we put on a fantastic show, and hopefully everybody enjoyed watching it at home for 3Y TV. And I think, like you were saying, Richmond's going to be great. I think it's going to be the same teams that we've seen fight. So this is just the storybook of the season that keeps getting written.
Yep. Well, that's all we have for you tonight. I'm Camera Rich. This is Ty McIntosh. We got Carlos Acosta, and it's all for Aaron Leinemann. That was tonight's event. We hope he enjoyed what he is seeing up in the pearly gates to the garage. So 3Y TV next week at 8:50 p.m. Eastern. We will have some Richmond action for you for the OSCA Weekend Woodsman Truck Series. Be sure to tune in for that. It's going to be some great racing.